Hello, baseball fans, and welcome into another edition of the British Baseball Podcast. I'm your host, Matthew, and on today's show, I'm delighted to be joined by the Orange County Legends president and head coach, and Great Britain's under-18 head coach, all-round top dude, Jonathan J. Rod Rodriguez. Another cracking guest who takes us on an audio journey through his playing career and coaching achievements, his stateside draft machine that is the Legends baseball program, plus his love of orcas and how he uses them in his motivational speeches. As always, if you're listening to the show on iTunes, please leave a little review and rating if you feel so inclined to do so. And if you're watching us on the old YouTubes, why not subscribe and leave us a nifty little comment on there too and let us know your thoughts. And if you want to reach out to me personally, my Twitter, Facebook and Instagram is @BritBaseballPod, or the email is BritishBaseballPodcast@gmail.com, and I'll always do my best to reply to all your messages. Just to touch on some news from the British baseball community, exciting things have been happening since the announcement of the Women's Great Britain national team. As of the time of this recording, we've seen 3 teams announce their women's team. The Sheffield Bruins have been leading the charge and making history by being the first out of the gate to announce their involvement in the Women's League, followed closely by Bristol and Kent. And I'm pretty sure that more will follow closely. Speaking of Bruins as well, they've also been crowned the British E-League champions in a hard-fought game against city rivals the Blade Runners. Thanks again to Chris Brown for arranging this amazing tournament. It's been an absolute pleasure to be a part of it, even though I got my ass handed to me every single game. But every opportunity in this baseball game was a learning curve, just like it is in real life. But needless to say, I've not got any better since then. And that's it from me. I'm back on the coffee, so get yourself a nice roasted blend in your mug, arrange your Dunkin' biscuits in a nice little row or stack, and I'll leave you to enjoy this week's guest, and I'll chat to you soon. Today's guest is the head coach of the under-18s Great Britain national team and the president and head coach of Long Beach Legends Baseball, and a self-described orca breeder. He's also been described as a young coach with a wealth of international experience and somebody who exemplifies the Great Britain baseball program. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Jonathan J. Rod Rodriguez. J. Rod, how are we doing?
I'm good, Matt. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thanks. Just had a lovely day in the sun. I've been working in the office and been looking outside at one of the hottest days of the year in Envy. But yeah, apart from that, not been too bad.
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous day up north. Absolutely beautiful. Gotta love Burnley. I mean, it's when it gets like this, it's just unbelievable.
Very picturesque.
Absolutely, yes.
So what have you been doing with yourself in lockdown now with all this extra time on your hands?
My wife and I are home. My wife's a teacher. We're both teachers, actually, so we've been at home with the kids. I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. So we have been busy just taking it one activity at a time, one Paw Patrol episode at a time, just getting through it, like the rest of us.
Yeah, Paw Patrol is quickly becoming the banes of my life.
Yeah, Paw Patrol, Space Jam is a big one. My son, I showed him Space Jam, so he's watched that about 100 times in the last month. So we're getting there, we're getting there. Yeah,
we got Wallace and Gromit on repeat at the moment. My 2-year-old's constantly walking around singing the theme tune to himself, and he knows more cheeses than he probably does any other words because of Wallace and Gromit.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Stuff I don't know. Can I start baseball in background and how it's taking you on this journey, like how you end up with the Long Beach Legends program and about how you ended up from California to Burnley?
Yeah, it's a crazy journey. I played baseball in high school, went to a junior college, went to a JUCO out of high school, had a good run at my JUCO and ended up going to West Virginia University out of there and finishing up at West Virginia Tech. And while I was finishing my degree there, I decided that I wanted to coach and got into coaching over there while I finished my degree, and it was great. Graduated, came back home and started coaching at my JUCO again. I was there for 3 seasons, and an old friend came to practice, and he had a buddy with him, and he introduced me, and he said that he was the director of baseball in like the Oceania region for WSBC. So I was like, oh, nice, man. I've always wanted to coach in Australia. And he goes, oh, well, I'll send you some contacts. Let me get your email. Long story short, one guy contacted me. I got an opportunity to coach a club in Perth, Australia, in 2013. And while in Australia, in Perth, I went to the beach on a Wednesday afternoon and I met my wife.
Oh, wow.
Fell in love in Australia, and she happened to be from Burnley. And our first conversation, I said, how far is that from London? And, you know, she laughed at me. And knowing what I know now is probably like the dumbest question ever. But, you know, she stuck with me, and, you know, we got married, ended up having our son in Burnley. Going back to the States for 2 years, I stopped coaching at that point and got a big boy job. Did that for I was still running the Legends at that point, but you know, got a couple years into that and wasn't really feeling it. And I said, I told my wife, I said, you know, she's always wanted to come back to England, and I said, let's do it now. You know, now's the time. So 2018, we moved to the Isle of Anglesey, actually, to live with her mom. Town of Beaumaris, which was great. We were there for 6 months, and then finally made it to our destination, which was Burnley, Lancashire, where we're at today. So quite the journey to get to Burnley. During my time at my junior college at Long Beach City College, I was given the opportunity by the head coach there to start a summer baseball program that plays out of Long Beach, and, you know, take care of some of the players that were there during the summer, during their off season, and, you know, coach other guys from around the area that want to play baseball in their summer holidays. And from there, from 2012, it just grew and grew and grew. And, you know, it is what it is today, where we've had some guys drafted and some guys who are playing in, you know, professional baseball right now. So I've been lucky on both sides, you know, my journey with the Legends and my journey, you know, getting to Burnley. It's been a wild ride, Matt. Wild.
Yeah, sounds it. You said you did 17 players drafted since 2016. Do you want to run us through a few names?
Yeah, 17 draft selections. So our first one, can I remember our first one? Kyle Davis. He was the ace at USC, University of Southern California. We had him his freshman year. After his freshman year, Trevor Casanova got drafted 8th round, and he is in the Minnesota Twins system in AA. He's making a push. Very athletic catcher. We have a guy, Ty Tiedemann, who got drafted 8th round by the Texas Rangers, and he is in AA as well, making a push to the bigs. And he's a pitcher, like 93 to 95 with a nasty slider. So he's a guy you can see up there. Yeah, we have some dudes. We have some guys all over. 25 professional players, you know, who ended up either signing to a MLB team or playing in indie ball. But yeah, we've got a few. We've been lucky. Southern California, where I'm from, and you know, Long Beach, Orange County area, LA area, it's a hotbed for players. So we just happen to be at the right place at the right time, you know.
So you mentioned then that you had quite a few players that have been drafted in the late rounds of the MLB draft. I know it's not really British baseball related, but I just wondered if you could give your take on what you feel about the cuts to the draft rounds.
I think it's unfortunate, you know, for a number of players. This last season with the Legends, we had a player who was a senior at Pepperdine University, Division I in Southern California. And he was really quiet throughout his college career, worked really, really hard his first 3 years. And we had him last summer, and I saw him take this leap in his game where now he's like a pro guy. Now he's going to get drafted, and he was ready for it at Pepperdine. He went into his senior year and was having a really, really good year. And I had scouts calling me about him, and I was like, this guy's going to get picked up. And now, you know, they cut down the draft. You know, it's going to affect him, and especially with money potentially. You know, he's going to sign for less. So my heart goes out to kids like that who work their entire lives to have that breakout year, you know, be last year, worked up to the whole thing. And it's just an unfortunate, you know, string of events that's gone on. So I just feel for the kids, you know, and what can you really do at the end of the day except just encourage them to keep going and hope that something good happens.
Yeah, indeed. Bring it back to yourself. You mentioned in the start of it, you sort of moved quickly from playing into coaching. Was there any particular reason for that? Do you want to talk us through your playing career and the start of your coaching? What was it that
Sure,
sort
yeah.
of made you feel like you wanted to go more into coaching rather than playing side?
Well, that's an interesting story, Matt. So my playing career was a bit windy as well. I got good really fast at the end of my high school career. I don't know what happened. I just always loved baseball. I was always playing wiffle ball in the backyard, always hitting. Had a batting cage in my backyard, just hit, hit, hit. I wasn't really very good though, but I really, really, really enjoyed playing baseball. It's just all I did. That was my form of entertainment, really. Um, so I wasn't very good, but my last year in high school, like I was talking about the kid from Pepperdine, like I just had a year, I just broke out. My last year of high school, I got good really fast. So I went to a junior college late, the first one that would call me back, Long Beach City College, and ended up kind of barely making it my first year. And then again, my second year at the JUCO, because you're only allowed 2 years at a junior college, I just took a step, towards the next level, big step. And now I was starting to get interest from 4-year schools, Division I schools were starting to call me. And like it all happened really fast for me as a 19-year-old kid. I wasn't ready for it. So I ended up going to West Virginia University in Morgantown, West Virginia, which is a massive school, huge college football program, huge college basketball program, 30,000 students in a small, small town of 50,000 people in the middle of Podunk, West Virginia, right? And I love West Virginia with all my heart, but it was like Lord of the Flies out there.
Yeah.
And I was not ready for that environment. Just kids, just parties everywhere. Kids who were, the whole place was run by kids. So there were no rules, there was nothing. And, I struggled to have that focus being away from home. I'm from California, West Virginia is about 2,800 miles away. So I struggled, and I actually walked away from baseball at West Virginia University. I walked off the team. I was done with it. And I said, I just want to be a student and live that life as a student and really enjoy my time here at the school. I was kind of burnt out on baseball by that time, or I couldn't handle it. It didn't seem like a fun place. So I was out of the game for 2 years at West Virginia. I was just a student. And then the last year I was eligible to play college baseball, I went back to the coach and I begged him, like, Coach, let me back on. And he said, I'll let you back in to practice with the team, but you're going to be our bullpen catcher and you're just going to catch pitchers the entire time. And you pretty much you don't have no shot of ever playing, but you can catch our pitchers, warm up our pitchers. Like, all right, I'm in. And I worked for him during the fall, during the off season. I showed up every day. I caught all these bullpens just to prove to myself that like I could go back out there and do it, really. And at the end, he called me into the dugout and he said, you know what, we're going to have to let you go, man. It's just not going to work out over here. Kind of burned your bridge. But I know a guy who just took over a baseball program about 3 hours down south at West Virginia Tech, and he really needs players, and he has scholarship money. So, and it's a sister school of West Virginia University, so all my classes transferred over. Everything was good. Like I could still graduate from West Virginia and finish my degree. And it was like a godsend to me. I got to play my last year. I actually got to play somewhere, got scholarship money because of it and had a really good year and connected with the coach. And, after I went through that journey as a player, if you're a baseball player in America and you play all the way to college, you identify as a baseball player.
Yeah.
You're 19, 20 years old. You are a baseball player. And I quit at that time in a very intimidating college environment. And I had to redefine myself, right? I didn't have baseball anymore. So to go through that as a player and kind of redefine myself, I mean, I knew like I'm just way more prepared than anybody else to be a coach right now because I have perspective on this whole thing. And I know what it's like to be away from the game.
Yeah.
I know what it's like to have it taken away. And, I have something to offer players, some unique experience. So that's right when I was done playing that last year or that last semester, I guess it was only it was only the season, from February to May, I was playing at that school. But after that was done, I went right up to the coach. I was like, Coach, I want to work with you next year and I want to be a coach on this staff. And that's what I want my career to be. So, that's kind of how I got into it, man. And just a very windy path all around. But I'm starting to figure out, I think I might prefer it that way.
Yeah. Well, fascinating journey. I mean, so I was going to ask you partway through that about how you stay disciplined, but we can see that it didn't really go that way. Were you leaving baseball alone for a few years?
Yeah, no
Do you have
discipline whatsoever. None.
do you now then have any advice to anybody listening that there might be a youth or at college in the States? Because I have quite a few listeners around the globe. What advice would
Nice.
you give to someone that's got any sort of doubts or is struggling to stay focused or disciplined? What could you offer to them?
Man, that's a good question. I mean, everybody's different. I would say, follow your heart. And baseball, what I found is, even when I left coaching, I've left baseball twice, and it's always been there with open arms. There's always been people that bring you back in. And, if you're not feeling it right now, maybe it's just not your time, and maybe it's time to go do something else and circle back around baseball when you're at a different point in your life. When it's better for you and it adds more value to your life. Like at the end of the day, you got to do what adds value to your life. And if
Yeah,
baseball doesn't do it anymore, get away from it. But and then maybe circle back around later on, because it's always there. The club level. I mean, you got until you can't walk anymore. There will always be a club. When I was coaching in Australia, there was D grade these dudes were 65, 70 years old out there hamming it up, been playing with the club for 40 years. So it's always going to be there.
cracking bit of advice. Thank you very much. So, what do you personally enjoy most about baseball?
That's a good question. That's a big one right there. What do I enjoy most? The camaraderie, for sure, 100%. Just, as a player, just having your teammates there. And then as a coach, just having that connection with your players, being a part of something bigger than yourself, on that level. It's not like it's not like your team at work. It's different. And being a part of something bigger than yourself is probably what I love most about baseball. It just warms my heart. As far as like my mind goes, I just love the challenge, and I use baseball as kind of like a way to figure out what's going on the human mind and just what's going on with life, really. Like I use it as an avenue through baseball to kind of figure out things like, how to control yourself, how to be mindful, how to be present, things like that. So there are a lot of different answers to that question. A lot of different avenues I could go down, but I'll leave you with those two: just being with your teammates, having a good time with the lads, and just being able to work your mind a little bit and create, figure out what's going on in life, really.
So, you've been recently had some really good news. You've been named the head coach of the under-18s Great Britain national team. How did that come about, and what vision have you got in place for the under-18s?
Well, it came about in 2018. When we made the decision to move out to the UK from America, I got in touch with Liam, who I've exchanged emails with in the past, but I sent him an email saying, "Hey man, we're making the move. If you got any opportunities coming up, let me know." And when I got in there, he told me that there's an opportunity to coach BSUK sessions in Manchester, the North Region sessions. So I jumped on it, started coaching those. He started inviting me down south to the HPA and the BSUK South Region Academy. And, that was kind of like my platform to kind of show the other coaches in the GB program and the players, the people from BSUK, like, okay, it's kind of a way to show them what I have. And after that winter of 2018, 2019, I got Drew reached out to me to be the bench coach for the U23s. And
Yes.
that was like amazing, representing a country, the opportunity to do that, unbelievable. So I jumped on that and went out to Prague last summer, and, game, we beat the Dutch, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is unbelievable. And we had a really good run and had a really good team, and the guys, it was amazing, and it was an amazing trip. And we overachieved, and I was on that coaching staff. So I was able to throw my name in the hat for the GB u18 position when Will moved into his current role as the pitching catching coordinator. I was in a position where I just, helped this U23 team do some work in the Euros. So Jason Pierce reached out and said, they got a bunch of good recommendations from the people who I've coached with along the way in my short time here. And, I jumped all over that opportunity too. So, now I'm the head coach of the U18 team, just the caretaker, as we like to say in the, the GB coaching staff. We're just taking care of it. I'm just the caretaker for this time being. And I intend to leave it better than I found it. And by doing that, what goes into that is creating a culture, a family culture, building that first, so that players can be honest, players can be comfortable, players know where they stand. Just creating that kind of culture of just making fair demands with our players from a very loving place. And that's the first goal and the first thing that, I want to build over there. And from that foundation, just want to build those steps of, starting to create very aggressive players on offense, very aggressive pitchers on the mound, very confident and smart defense when they have the ball, and just be a team that's kind of relentless. I want to build a relentless attitude and attacking style, if you will, very, very aggressive attacking style in our team. But it all starts with the trust factor, right? Like if they don't trust me, then I might as well just be talking to the wall, right? So that's why the first thing we're going to do is build that trust and build that family vibe, and so that they can trust me, I could trust them. And once that trust is built, then we can start getting into the X's and O's of how we're going to qualify for the European Championships next summer.
And how do you build the trust between yourself and the athlete?
It's a great question. I try to be as genuine as possible. I try to control my emotions, on the field and be very calm during competition. But when it comes time to training, when it comes time to talking to the team and teaching them the game and guiding them, I'm very emotional and I wear my emotions on my sleeve, and I'm as, genuine as I possibly could be. So, hopefully they can kind of see that I'm genuine and they could trust me a little bit. And then as a coach, you just got to trust them, because at the end of the day, it's theirs, right? This is their thing. We can't coach anywhere. Without them, there's nobody to coach. So this thing's for them. So I'm going to trust them with it. It's their thing. So just kind of having that, I used this with my legends, this analogy, but it's like, and I think I used it with the U15s as well, because I'm helping I'm their hitting coach. And I used the analogy of a NASCAR track. So just if you can imagine like NASCAR track with like 40 NASCARs on the track, right?
Yeah.
And I told the U15s, I said, I want you to be the NASCARs, and I want you to look at us as being the track and the side rails, right? We're just like a track is to a NASCAR driver. Like we're going to challenge you, but we're also going to give you the platform to create some great memories. We're going to guide you in the right way. Just make sure you stay in lanes, and you could do anything you want on that track. You could be whoever you want to be. You can create any identity you want to create. It's just all within those lanes. So just kind of approaches like that, and just kind of having that understanding with the players, hopefully it develops a trust that like they can just look at me and be like, yeah, this guy's here for us.
So you're not giving them empty promises of trips to Long Beach?
No, man, that'll catch up with you real quick. No, that's the transactional coach, man. And that's a great example. And I don't know if any coaches do that, but it's a great example of a transactional coach, like a lot of coaches. And, and to be honest, it's just probably how they were taught. But there are these coaches in the game that look at coaching a player as transactional. I'll do something for you, now you do something for me. And it doesn't work like that. You got to try to be a transformative coach. You have to be able, you want to try to transform these guys. You want them to learn something while you're there. Like, these are the glory days. These kids are representing their country. why, who am I to say you got to do it my way? This is how you're going to do it. I would be ruining that experience for them. Just like, I don't know if you guys have prom in this country, but just like imagine your mom going to prom with you on prom night, or your dad. Like, that would ruin everything. Like, let the kids have their thing. Like, this is their time to represent their country. Make it as memorable as possible. Support them. Be there for them. Give them confidence. And just don't let the score get in your head. Just go after those things. And that's how you become a transformative coach, where you're transforming lives, you're transforming players, you're shaping these guys' lives, and you're creating an environment that they're attracted to, and they come back later in life and they support it and they get their kids involved in it. Like, that's where you can really make a big difference. So I'm glad you got that. You threw that example up there, man, because there's a big shift in coaching, and the ones that are getting it going, the ones that are really successful, they have that transformative approach to coaching their kids.
Yeah. Would you say transformative style best suits the description of your coaching and management style?
Absolutely. I mean, it hasn't always, and I started coaching when I was 23 years old, and I definitely was. I might have transformed somebody the wrong way, like it was bad. And I think everybody has that a little bit in them. Just depends on it's a tough shift to go from college baseball to coaching in 1 year. Like, coaching is a completely different game. The sport you're playing, or the sport, is all the same, but playing and coaching, they're two different animals. So I've come a long way to kind of figure that out. Maybe it's just getting older, being more mature, having kids, having experience. But yeah, I think coaches eventually hit that and figure that out somewhere along the way.
That's cool. You said as well earlier that you're trying to build this family culture with the under 18s. As a coach, what other values do you sort of have for your team? What's important to you as a coach?
So I want them to be relentless. I want them to be relentless with their approach to baseball. I want them to not be worried about results. I want them to be relentless in the small things in the process, what makes up the result. I want them to be relentless in that. I want them to fall in love with it, right? Not looking at the score, but looking at, I don't know, strikeout to walk ratio, our strikeout to walk ratio while we're hitting. I don't want them to look up the scoreboard and say, oh, it's 2-1. I want them to look at these little things and be relentless with that. Be very, very aggressive and mentally tough, but at the same time, be smart and be opportunistic. A lot of the time, maybe if we don't score, let's say it's the fourth inning and we haven't scored a run yet, is my team, are they tight? I don't want them to be tight. I don't want them to be to start swinging the bat harder. I don't want them to be gripping the bat tighter, their jaw starting to clench on the mound. Like, I don't want that. If it's the fourth inning and we're down 4-0, I want our guys to be confident that they've trained, they've put in the work, they're sticking with the game plan, they're relentless with the game plan, and it's not a matter of if we're going to score, or it's not a matter of if we're going to score a run or if we're going to knock this pitcher out. It's just a matter of when, because eventually the percentages will play out, and our approach, if we are relentless with it and we're focused on it, it'll eventually play out. And I think I talked to Jonathan Cranman about that approach and that coaching style. He said the guy from Arsenal, Wenger, had that approach as well, as far as like his tactics, like just play the percentages and don't get away from the percentages, and be just meticulous, relentless about the small things that add up to the big result. And it'll eventually happen. Might not happen that game, but if you do it for long enough and you stick with it for long enough, eventually you'll wear your opponent down. So I want my team to have that kind of mentality and play the game fast and play the game aggressive and put pressure on the other team every single pitch, right? I want them to have that kind of focus because I know that if you can take the game to the opponent, your percentages for success go up. And at the end of the day, I just want my kids to be successful. Those are kind of the values and the traits that I look for in my team. Being respectful, number one, respecting the game, representing GB are probably the top things that we're going to have when we travel, and representing our country well, and respecting the game, and being good sportsmen, and just really being nice guys and politicians off the field. But when you're on the field, you got the killer instinct. We all watched with Michael Jordan in Last Dance. You're just a dog out there. So, that's kind of what we look for, man. Long-winded answer, but there's a lot that goes into it. But that's kind of what I want to see in my guys. And if they could do that, I don't even care the score. I don't care if we lose every game. At that tournament we're going to be playing next summer, we'll be successful in our minds, in our eyes.
Was one thing I kept meaning to ask, where I've had a few of the coaches on, and it keeps escaping me. Do you and the rest of the GB management team have like a particular prototype for the player that you're looking for, or do you sort of take each individual that turns up for trials at their own merits and take advantage of what they can bring to the game or the potential?
That's a good question. There's not like a prototype. We want all our guys to be big, strong, and fast, of course, just because the game's easier when you're big, strong, and fast. But we kind of just look more towards what can they do. We're in a position, it's different with GB. We get limited time with our players, and most of the time we'll just have a few practices, and we'll go out to these international competitions. So we don't really have time to look at what they do wrong, or what they don't have. We just kind of see what they do well, and whether that's with the glove, whether that's with the bat, whether that's having a good power swing. Like we had a kid on the U23 team, Sev Molina. He was there because he had one big swing in his bat. He could get a fastball and hit a home run, and that we knew we had that ace in the hole. So we used him. And I kid you not, he came about 5 feet from tying up the game against France. He almost hit a 3-run homer in like the 6th inning to tie the game. So like we just kind of look at it like that, like what weapons do we need, and what does this guy do well, and how can we bring that in and use it? So that's kind of our approach with selections. But again, like we like the fielders who can move around and have good actions, have strong arms. We like the hitters who can control the strike zone and split a gap every now and then. And we like pitchers that throw hard, but like everybody likes those guys. But yeah, that's kind of like our process.
Cool. That's brilliant. Thanks for the insight in that. What have been some of the biggest challenges you've had to face, or what's been the hardest part of your job so far?
With GB U18?
For any sort of level of coaching, as Jonathan Rodriguez as a person, what's been the biggest challenges you've had to face?
Biggest challenges I've had to face were, for me personally, just like I said, learning how to take care of the players and treat the players right, and just be able to coach from a good place, from a place of love instead of a place of why aren't you performing for me? So that's been like the biggest challenge that I've had to face personally. It's always tough to keep up with the game. The game's always moving, so there are a lot of new things coming out, a lot of new technology, and a lot of new ways to get information out that are very tough and very hard to learn. And if you want to be a good coach and you want to get to this generation of players, you're going to have to learn it. So just kind of keeping up with the times and figuring out new ways to teach things and keep up with the generation that we're coaching. That's been a challenge as well. And then with GB, just the contact time. When I coached in college in the States, it was 6 days a week. We were with our players, and we were running out of things to do at practice. We would have to get really creative to make it keep it from being monotonous. But out here, it's like you got one practice a month if you're lucky with these guys. So better make it work, and you better not miss on any drills and waste a moment. And that's been a challenge. And that's a challenge that all the GB coaches take on. And Liam does a great job. Liam does such a great job with keeping track of all that stuff. I don't know if you saw his presentation on USA Baseball on that platform. I did. Oh my gosh, unveritable. And he does such a great job because we can't miss. Like we can't get a national team, a group of whatever it is, either 12s, 15s, a blend of anything. We can't waste a moment from that day. We just can't miss on a drill or on a certain thing and waste 15 minutes of our time because that plays big. When we get out to Prague and everything's magnified, that 15 minutes where you chose to cover something when you should have covered this, like that, the game will find your weaknesses, and the game will make sure that you're making that your practices are organized and that you're working on everything. You're working on all the right stuff. The game is built to expose all your weaknesses, all your flaws. So and we just don't have the time with these kids. So man, Liam and the rest of the coaching staff does such a great job just determining what's important, coming up with a really simple way to teach it so that when we get to our practices, when we get to our training sessions with our kids, it's like bang, 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 bang. All right, we're done. We got it all done. And that's what we did in Prague, man. It was great. We had like 3 practices, covered everything we needed, gave them a little confidence, and we went out there and beat the Dutch in our first game. So that goes to show like the coaching staff and kind of, how we deal with that challenge. We're up for it, but it's a big one.
Yeah, indeed. And apart from beating the Dutch, what have been your other major highlights and achievements?
Yeah, putting on a GB uniform, that's definitely number one. Listening, singing "God Save the Queen" before every game, like that's surreal. As far as achievements go, when I was at my junior college in 2006, we won the community college state championship for California, and we set a school record for wins. And we had a really, really good team there. That was a massive achievement. My legends have grown, and I've seen players get drafted. I've seen players not get drafted and go into professional life in another arena and be very, very successful and have kids. And that's like such an achievement, to watch the first Legends team that I coached, have kids and professional lives and wives and families and all this. Like, man, that's a real accomplishment to me. Getting back to baseball at my junior college, when I started coaching there, when I went back, they had a couple really tough years, 3 really, really tough years. And I went in there and started handling the recruiting and kind of got them back on track, helped get them back on track. It wasn't just me, it was a group of individuals. And they ended up winning 3 league championships in a row while I was there, and another one after I left. And since then, I think they've won 6 of 7 league championships. So just kind of getting that program revamped and sending it off the way I did is a massive, massive accomplishment. And, that's where I coached, or that's where I played and had all those good experiences. So to be able to do that for the players over there, it's up there.
Awesome. Lovely stuff. So would you mind telling us a bit more about the Long Beach Legends baseball? Like, I know we've touched on bits and pieces, but what's the setup? How is it actually organized? Is it more of a team, or is it like a summer camp?
No, it's a team. So Southern California, 30 million people, maybe 20. I don't know how many, a bunch of people live in LA, Orange County, that LA metropolitan area, a ton of people, I think like 20 million. So there's a bunch of kids, a bunch of college baseball players, and they come home for the summer. So they they go to school in September, and that's their fall season. And then they come home for Christmas, go back out in January, and that's their winter season. And then they start games in February, and their season goes until about mid-May, probably around this time, into late May. And then they come home for the summer. So there's leagues all around America that they're summer leagues where these college baseball players who are done at their school, they're on summer holidays, they play in these leagues against each other. And I had an opportunity to start a team in a league and attract all these guys who are home for the summer from Southern California. So we play anywhere from 45 to 50, 55 games in the summer in about 68 days. So we're playing almost every day. All these kids, they all live near the field, so they all drive themselves to the game. Just it's a lot like a club where you drive yourself to the game, you drive yourself home after the game. And yeah, we play in this league, and I get these guys experience. So they come to me after their season and they're like, Coach, I really need to work on this, this, and this. And that's what we work on and get them ready for the next season. So, and during that time, we try to compete and win, as a team. So that's kind of the setup of the Legends, and what we've built it into a place where some really talented players contact us to play. Me and a bunch of people built that up since 2012, man. I can't even, just everybody, we probably had, geez, I'm doing the math really quick right now, but at least close to 1,000 players come through our program since 2012, and they all played a little their little part in building it into what it is today.
Incredible. You must be really proud of it.
Man, it's
I mean, don't sell yourself
I don't
short.
even know how
I've
to
had a
describe
look
it.
on you. I've had a look at your achievements on the website. I've done my research. You
Well,
can brag if you want to.
we got lucky. So like I said, right place, right time. Like Southern California is just this hub for baseball. The weather is perfect, right? It's just everybody's playing year round. But the college summer baseball scene, I don't know if you've ever seen Fever Pitch with Freddie Prinze Jr., like the 90s movie. No? No, maybe somebody out there has, but like that's a movie about the Cape Cod League. That's the collegiate summer league in Massachusetts. And most of these leagues are in the Midwest in small towns. And like small towns come out and there's like 2,000 people at the game. It gives it a minor league feel.
Yeah.
So there was nothing in Southern California when I started in 2012. There was nothing. Just it wasn't organized and it wasn't competitive. And we just went in there and did it the right way, like these other teams are doing in the Midwest. And we took it very serious. And we were just lucky that nobody else was doing it at the time. And there were a lot of really good baseball players who were hungry for something like that. And man, I kid you not, like I told the first team, I said, I don't know. I just took the first 30 guys who contacted me because I was scared we weren't going to have enough players. And I just said, you guys do whatever you want with it. And this kind of developed my philosophy. I said, you can go 52-0. We were playing 52 games that summer. You can go 52-0 or 0-52. I don't care. I got our uniforms. We're organized. Like we have all our stuff up on a website. I scheduled all the umpires, all the fields. My job is done. Like, I'm just here to watch you guys play now. Like, you take this as far as you want to go. And the first team ever, they started 10-0. They went on a 10-game winning streak, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So it's been, that kind of vibe and those kind of people who have built this thing up and really enjoyed just the attention to detail that I bring just into the organizational part of running a baseball program.
Are they some of your biggest strengths in organization?
I mean, I don't know if it's a strength. I'm probably half OCD. So if you want to call it organization, that's cool. But I just have to have things neat and try. I don't let it leak into my coaching because I like to coach individuals and see their own individual traits. But as far as like the baseball program goes, I try to cookie cut as much as possible, right? I try to schedule the same games, keep all the games the same time, same days. We're playing Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We have Mondays and Fridays off. Always, I'm very organized in that sense. And like putting a roster together, it's like a dream, You guys had that. You guys have the video game out here, like Football Manager.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, like it's like that. That's how the legends are. Like I'm with a blank slate. I get to do whatever I want with them every year. It's amazing. It's fun, and it motivates me to just do it the right way.
So here's a really bad segue for you. What's your favorite animal?
Oh, oh, it's the orca, man. It's the orca.
Yeah. What's the story behind the orcas?
So the orca, where do I begin? I've always been obsessed with orcas since I was a kid. Always just had a thing for orcas. They were different. They were beautiful. I lived like an hour from SeaWorld, like an hour or two from SeaWorld. So we would go to SeaWorld all the time and I'd see these things and I was just awestruck. And I wanted to be a marine biologist, right? I told you in high school, like I didn't get good till late. So I legit was planning on going to UC San Diego and being a marine biologist and studying orcas. So I had this like past life almost. And I got really good at baseball really fast. I dove into the baseball life. So then I'm coaching and it's probably about 2013, 2014. And I still have this love and fascination for orcas. And it just clicks, like something just hit during a Legends game. And I said, you guys got to be a pot of orcas out there. They're like, what, coach? What, a pot of orcas? I go, yeah, are you kidding? Have you ever seen an orca hunt? You know, they wave wash the seal. They work together to create this big seal, or to create this big wave that washes the seal off the ice float. And then they let the seal get back on the ice float. They don't eat it right away because they don't want to get hurt. They live till they're 100. So they don't take on full seals at full strength. So they wash the seal off. And I just started going off on this kind of like on a whim, trying to compare it to baseball, trying to keep things interesting in the dugout. And I kid you not, the response that I got from that team was amazing. They absolutely, had all their attention, and they loved it, and they didn't let it go the whole summer. And they said, pot of orcas. So I went back out to Australia, and I felt it out, and I gave them the orca speech, like halfway through the season. And that was it, dude. They were calling me the orca from then on. So it's like, I saw a correlation that was really giving people a vivid picture of what, a vivid image in their mind, and a really good analogy of what an apex predator does, really. And you could say that either if you're an orca in the sea, or if you're a baseball player, if you're an apex predator and a baseball player, like as a baseball player, because we talked about, we want to be relentless. We want to be aggressive. Well, all those traits come out in orcas, all those traits. So I kind of merged and blended these two lives together, my coaching with my love and passion for orcas. And it fueled me to learn even more and dive into orcas even more. And it's just one of the best analogies I could possibly think of to explain what a successful team looks like and what a successful individual looks like on the baseball field. It's the greatest correlation. Like orcas, they let's see, they're ruled by the matriarch leads the pod, so the grandma leads the pod. The bulls, they don't fight. They don't fight for territory. They don't fight for mating like they do in like they would any other mammal would. Wolves or lions or whatever. They're cooperative. Right? Just like a good team should be cooperative, these orcas are cooperative. They do not fight. They do not jostle for position. They all play their role. They're the greatest. They are the greatest team on the planet. And it just hit me at that moment, while I was just giving my speech, because I try to keep things interesting in the dugout, keep things loose, especially in like a 50-game season. I say some crazy things, and that one I threw against the wall and it stuck. And it just played with my love for orcas, and the similarities are unbelievable. Just their techniques, how everybody plays a role. They don't have egos. Their brain, the spot in their brain that should have the ego has like a bump on it. So their ego is it's distributed amongst their pod. They identify with themselves. Their self-image is determined by their pod and how well they're doing on their team. And that's how they see the world. And it's insane. They share their kills, everything. It could be the smallest fish, and there could be 10 whales in the pod at that time. And they share. Everybody takes a bite from that fish. They're the best team on the planet. Amazing. So I just started learning more about it and creating more correlations with like a baseball team or a baseball player and an orca. And it's grown legs, man. It's grown legs. And I took it to the U23s. And to be honest, I didn't use it right away. But I think after like our game against France, we beat the Dutch, we lost to Germany and France. I busted it out, and they absolutely loved it, and that was a thing with them too. So now it's become a part of my coaching style. I compare a good baseball team to the characteristics that a pod of orcas shows, and it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
That's brilliant. It's probably one of my favorite motivational speeches.
Really?
Yeah,
I love
that.
Orca?
Yeah. Why not? It's different. It's
definitely different.
So we're getting towards the end of our conversation. Just a bit more about yourself. What does baseball mean to you?
Oh, baseball. It means a lot. That's for sure. Some of my greatest childhood memories revolve around the game, and being around my little brother. He's like 18 months younger than me, so we were always just going after it, having battles, playing wiffle ball till the sun went down. And I mean, that's like my childhood. That's like in my fabric. So baseball, it means a lot. We'll say that. And now to be in a position where I can make the game, give that kind of feeling to some of my players through the game of baseball, and be able to share that love and that passion, and just, I don't know, just feels like home, man. Baseball's home. There's nothing else I could do, really. There's nothing else where I feel at home, where I feel like I'm serving my purpose. And I think that's what it means to me, man. It's up there. It's up there.
What a lovely way to bring us to a close. I always like to leave the last word or shout outs to the guests. So, J-Rod, is there anything else you'd like to add? Anyone you want to give any mentions to?
Definitely thank you to everybody in this country who embraced me with open arms and shown me the passion and the love that you guys all have for the sport. Definitely thank you to Liam for bringing me in, and the GB coaches for bringing me in and continuing to teach me about things in baseball that I had no idea about. You know, I'm telling you guys, the group of coaches in the GB program right now are world class, 1000% world class. You go through my history with the Legends and everything, and I've coached some good baseball, but as far as being a baseball coach, I've learned so much from these guys in a short period of time. It's tremendous. So I urge all you guys to do the same thing, man. The GB coaches are amazing. Will, Liam, Drew, Cam, the Erics from the 12U team, Jonathan Crammon, Brian Laneoff, Rich Minford, Sam Sproul, like they are great baseball minds. So shout out to them just every day, teaching me how to be a better baseball coach. Shout out to, everybody up north. I can't wait to get started whenever we do get started, and I want to help grow the game and help out any way I can. Thank you for BSUK for giving me a platform and an opportunity to coach in this country. And then thank you to everybody who helped me in the States. If anybody's watching this, Coach Crook from LBCC, who recruited me as a crazy 17-year-old punk rock kid with spiky hair and dreams of being a marine biologist. He recruited me as a ball player and turned me into a ball player, and then turned me into a man when he brought me on his coaching staff. So big shout out to him, and my family, my wife, who's supported me, and her family, who've supported all of us when we made the move from the States to the UK. Like, there's just a lot of people, man, and I can't wait to work more with everybody and grow this thing and help GB baseball get to wherever we need to get it to go to.
Lovely, brilliant. Thank you very much for
that. And thank you, Matt. I got to say thank you for creating this platform for us. It's awesome, and it was great talking to you. Thank you very much.
No, thank you for giving me your time. It's been an absolute pleasure. And
cool. I'm glad I could help. Hopefully I've inspired somebody, and thanks again for giving us the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, pleasure's all mine. Jared, where can we find you on social media?
Social media, you can find me on Twitter, JRod9, I believe. Oh man, I don't know. I can't tell you. You can find me on Twitter at JRod, JROD9.
I'll put the link.
And that's my stuff. Yeah, throw the link on there, and check out the Legends if you want to check out the program and see some of the guys. We try to keep a club vibe, Hall of Fame, and keep track of the guys who sign professional contracts. So jump on there. It's www.legendsbaseball.club, and have a look, man. Yeah,
I'll put links to that in there too. Jared, enjoy the rest of the evening, and thank you very much again for your time. I really appreciate it. And there it goes. One of the most fun things for me as a podcaster, I get to enjoy the company of my guests for a while before and after the recording. And Jonathan's so much fun to chat to throughout the whole course of it. And it was, a great day for me. And hopefully he enjoyed himself too. And I hope you all enjoyed that as much as I did. Big thanks, J-Rod, for your time, your energy, and your enthusiasm. And as for you, lovely lot, I love chatting with you too, so don't be a stranger on social media. You do keep me entertained and afloat some days. I know it can be a bit silent on there at times, but I do enjoy your interactions. And if you want to make any recommendations for a guest, or you want you to come on the show yourself with your teammates and talk about your club and its history, then you know where to reach me. And as always, thank you very much, and I'll see you soon. Ta-ra.